Download knowledge in my head, studying every word that the Most High said, about this kingdom that's coming and the chosen people.
Right, we're gonna go into some of the evil wiles of this world and the times that we live in and how things are progressing along, and placing an eye on some of the things that are being done and looking at them for what they really are. Kind of how I mentioned earlier today of just the overall sorcery of where we're not able to really, you know, things are placed before us in a light and in a manner for us to not see them for what they really are, right? So we're going to go into the lesson today, and the title of the lesson, Robots, Living Idols Exposed. Robots. You heard me right. Going into, you know, how things progress along and different things being introduced and understanding them and seeing them for what they are versus how they are presented, you know? Right, so robots, living idols exposed. Just when you thought sin couldn't get any worse, we have reached a new low in our desires to follow the fallen angels into hell. The world has become a materialistic, perverse, and utterly rebellious place, more so than ever in history. While we are being busy being distracted by how many followers we have on social media or whatever the next perverse TV show coming out may be, the Satanists are building robots and systems which will be designed to hunt down all those they decide are not fit to live in their society. Our idols have been given life, these robots. And, you know, it's something, you know, just speaking to, so, you know, it's easy to relate everything to the physical and the material, the things that we can see. But these things are all dealing in the spirit, in the spiritual warfare. That's where they all begin. Even though it may be manifested or be able to be seen and present through the physical, these things are spiritual. Like when I'm speaking on things being given life, this is the manipulation of spirits. The manipulation of spirits. They're manipulated even, you know, through our music, literally, not just subconscious, you know, minimally, but this is the larger end of that. This is, like I said, this is where these things begin. It isn't like an afterthought of what it may become and, oh, here, let's, you know, it's the whole reason behind these things. It's a spiritual from its inception. And then we're not able to recognize it even as its end point as being a form of spiritual warfare, right? So, and the internet. Our idols have been given life, right? These robots. And the internet that we cherish so much is increasingly being improved to better seek out the righteous for the day of destruction they have planned. You know, even speaking to the internet, you know, and how we can't live without it. How we've grown so dependent upon it for so much. The things and the ways that we are attached to it through the things like the social medias. And, you know, it would at one point years ago be looked at as like, man, this is kind of crazy. Like when Facebook and these different things first started coming on the scene, and it's like, man, we just opening up our lives to everybody and everything, and where I'm at and everything about me and connecting every friend that I know and from here, like, but it's become just so laissez-faire, just regular, you know, again, to those things that we don't always see for what they are, you know, but we know, like, you know, there's, you know, these things were created, again, for purposes, similar to robots, the things that we're going into, TV shows, the music industries. And I don't want to put these things out there to, you know, to just go overboard, you know, but it's the facts, you know, and it's things we need to be mindful of, you know, the things that are pushed on to us unknowingly through whether it be music, TV shows, and so forth, right? But let's get into it. Let's get 2 Corinthians. You know, and I say that as true as it is that these things have such important roles against us and heavily influence in, you know, in our spiritual attacks. You know, I don't want to try to downplay it and say, yeah, but, you know, but I, in a sense, I do, because it's so much, you know, and we, you know, it's seen in such a different light than what it really is, you know, that, you know, I don't want it to just come off like as an overload. Like, and it's just like, you know, because we're so immersed and engulfed in it and coming from a place and gradually learning to do better with these things. But, you know, I mean, it's, you know, it surrounds us in like every aspect of everything we do. But let's get 2 Corinthians, right? Chapter 10 is where we're going. 2 Corinthians 10:3.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
For though we walk in the flesh, right? That's what we're speaking on. The war isn't taking place in the flesh. The war isn't with the police, with the government. Like, it isn't taking place where we get ready to, you know, defend in the physical, right?
Verse 4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through our power. That's where our weapon is. It's our weapon is mighty through our strength, through our God. That's our weapon. To the pulling down of strongholds. And kind of what I was speaking to, and I'm pointing out all this, and it's the music, and it, you know, and like I say, I kind of pull back because I don't want it to be overwhelming to where people just feel like, man, you know, everything. We got to restrict and got to remove ourselves from everything. And because it becomes, you know, overwhelming. I mean, because it becomes a thing where, you know, whatever it is you delve off into, and the more you seek it out and understand it, it's like, man, we can't do nothing. We can't partake in this world, which we can't at all, though. You know, and I'm just speaking to that dynamic of it becoming, you know, overwhelming. Where do we start? What do we do? You know, whether it's food, right? And it's like, I mean, you know, if you go down that road and of understanding concerning food, you might find yourself in a place of finding it difficult to eat. You know, eat righteously. Because it's all under, you know, this satanic system we live under. But it is, you know, and I hope I'm not losing you all where I'm trying to explain, right? But it is important that we begin to remove ourselves from these things. From the, you know, to where little by little, we don't even have a taste for it. We don't have a desire to watch every reality show and record them and sit on hours up on end. You know, what do they call it when you look at everything? Binge watching. Or, God, that's, you know, we not attached to the tube. We not attached to these, you know, certain types of music that we got to have playing throughout our home. Or, you know, we have to be removing ourselves from this stuff in this world. Read that from the top again.
2 Corinthians 10:3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
These things are attached to the Spirit. Know that. That's the forms of weaponry through the Most High. Through the Most High. That's the fight. That's that spiritual fight. Getting with the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High.
Y'all know how much that includes? This is that imagination I'm talking about. This is that not seeing the reality. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High. Casting those things down that exalt itself above him. Go ahead.
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
That is where we need to be. I don't want to overwhelm, but casting down these imaginations and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Bringing out all of captivity, not us being captive to spirits and using and moving us, but us being rulers of our own domain under Christ and being a, you know, holding all of our thoughts to the obedience of Christ. There is a spiritual war which soon the Satanist will make physical. Our own silly imaginations, which we use to imagine perverse things which are against the law of the Most High, have gotten society to a point of no return. This war will happen whether we are spiritually prepared or not. And it's easy to step out, like you know, especially for some of us and most of us that are without this understanding and knowledge, right? And not be able to see the forest for the trees, you know, and just go ahead and can't fully see, you know, especially in America, especially in America. I mean, but it brings to mind, like, you know, and I feel like I'm getting halfway off course, but you know, I think, you know, we think of what takes place and what is happening around the world. And believe it or not, it happens here, but we're under such, we can't see that we can't even see what's happening to us as a people, as we're being brought lower and lower, and the vice grip is getting tighter and tighter. But guess what? There's a new sitcom on with my favorite actor, and it's so funny. I'm taking away, like, I can't even deal with nothing because I love this show. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't really see because we're so distracted. Something else always come up. A new Will Smith movie, a new, you know, it's time for this basketball season to start. It's a great new player, you know, so, yo, if I can throw that tube on, or I can play this music, or we can forget, and I can do the new dance, like we don't see the things happening right to us, you know? But it brings to mind, you know, some places don't have the sophisticated level of sorcery that we are so privy to get to indulge in this great America. You know, and you know, they don't get the grand trickery to be fooled into thinking they okay. You know, and one place comes to mind, you know, Libya. You know, and it's never spoken of what was taking place there before they went in and took this place down. And it's brought back to my mind, of course, recently because of the information coming out of how things are now there. I recently spoke to a brother from Africa. It's funny how I run across these people. And, you know, he's telling me about the dire situation. When Libya, before they moved in, there weren't any homeless people. Yeah. They weren't homeless. They didn't have homeless. Like, this sounds extraordinarily, just no way that's true. Wow. They didn't have people. If you wanted to go to school, you went to school, university. If it wasn't offered within the country, it was paid for to send you wherever in the world you needed to study, as long as you brought it back. Wow. Those are the great things that were happening there. I mean, I can go on and on.
Irrigating the desert and giving you farmland.
Irrigating the desert, giving out farmland. It's yours. Just work it and produce. I mean, I'm telling you, it goes on. This is some of the things that were taking place there before they villainized the leader, made him seem a certain way to the people, move in and took it over. You know what's happening to those same people? Some of you may have heard. What's happening to them right now? They're in they're being sold. These things, torture, these things are happening. And I like to bring around some of the realities because of this matrix that's placed before us. So as we go on to this lesson, this ain't something that can just be seen as, you know, yeah, that's maybe something somehow, somewhere in the universe. So yeah, you know, no, this is the realities of this world, like we read in Exodus. Okay, so it's not a fleshly battle. And I'm telling you, as these people do these things, and these things are inflicted upon us, whether it be in Libya, here, or wherever, they don't look at making sure they got the strongest metallic material for the tank. Like, that's not their primary goal. And the best of bullets, even though that's where they excel and their gift was weaponry. They're preparing spiritually. This warfare is spiritual. That keeps us, lulling us, not knowing, not seeing, okay? For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of warfare are not carnal, but those weapons are mighty through the Most High, through our power. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of our power, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Okay, I'm going to read this again, and then we're going to go to the book of Micah. There is a spiritual war which soon the Satanists will make physical. Our own silly imaginations, which we use to imagine perverse things, which are against the laws of the Most High. That's important. Dealing with the law. That's our battle. That's the spiritual strength through our power, which have us going against the laws of the Most High, have gotten society to a point of no return. This war will happen, whether we are spiritually prepared or not. Micah 6 and 9.
The Most High's voice cried unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name. Hear ye the rod, and who hath appointed it? Are there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and the scant measure that is abominable? Shall I count them pure with the wicked balances, and with the bag of deceitful weights? For the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth.
You see that?
Therefore, also will I make thee sick in smiting thee, in making thee desolate because of thy sins.
Because of the sins, making thee desolate. Talking about the rich that are, full of violence, and the inhabitants who are speaking lies with deceitful tongues. Go ahead.
Thou shalt eat, but not be satisfied, and thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee, and thou shalt take hold, but shall not deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And that which thou deliverest will I give up to the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt sow, but thou shalt not reap. Thou shalt tread the olives, but thou shalt not anoint thee with oil, and sweet wine, but shalt not drink wine. For the statutes of Omri are kept, and all the works of the house of Ahab, and ye walk in their counsels.
This is talking of the statutes outside of the Most High, dealing with other gods, and the works of the house of Ahab. It says, for the statutes of Omri are kept, and all the works of the house of Ahab, and ye walk in their counsel. This is what he's talking about, why he's coming to bring a level of judgment. Go ahead.
That I should make thee a desolation,
mm-hmm.
and the inhabitants thereof an hissing. Therefore ye shall bear the reproach of my people.
All right. There is nothing new under the sun, because we refuse to put down our idols. Desolation is soon coming again. There is so much information that we have access to now. Speaking of the internet, you can type in anything, search anything in a fraction of a second. We have all this information and access to information that there should be no excuse as to why so many are still celebrating holidays of the God that the Most High warned us about, and placing their idols in our homes. Like, how are we still doing that overall as a people? It's as easy as a Google search, and it'll run down page after page, link after link, research upon research, history upon history, breaking down and explaining that Christmas has nothing to do with Christ or the Bible. And so forth and so on. And we wonder how we can continue in the position we are in. We want to march. We want to do everything except for deal with some obedience. We'll do everything but that. And that's why it's so important for them, and through all their religions, all these different belief systems, it's a couple things they're going to make sure that's left out. They're going to leave some good, some truth, but they're not going to talk about who the people are, who we are, and what's expected of us. You know why? A huge point in that is those people were given a law. They don't want us to have us to know we subject to obedience. And I'm going to tell you another piece of that, those belief systems. The law is done away with. You know what they just did? They just disarmed you. They just sent you through the metal detector and said, take everything off. You got to leave that, you disarmed, you wide open, you a prey now. Done deal. What do we just read? It's not flesh. It's through him setting our thoughts to what? Obedience. To what? The law is done. What are we supposed to listen to and obey? They took it away. It's no more law. You're naked. Obedience to the law. That's our warfare. As we sitting here just indulging in all the madness just shooting at us everywhere. That's how you shed and start shedding that stuff piece by piece. Because you just start getting to know them laws more and more every day. And little by little you start losing the taste for that. It's like, man, am I really sitting here doing this? I don't even want to no more. And then the next thing, yeah, I'm done with that. Let's drop that. That's that warfare. Now you arming up. Spiritual righteousness, getting back to the Father, obedience, the law. Yeah, so we still want to celebrate these holidays. It's too much information out here. We woke, people. We ain't, you know, we not in a time where it's illegal to speak the language. That's why they kept us away from anything. There was a time, there was a reason, that was spiritual too. Y'all can't even, I don't want y'all talking. If I see somebody with a book, you're getting killed. We up, yo. Read something. Look at it. The information's there. There's no reason we still cutting down trees and putting them in our house and putting stars and angels on them. We're going to read it. We seek counsel from the Satanists, just like back then, and oppress those who tell us the truth. Ahab was a worshiper of Baal, like we just read in Micah. And so are your political figures who blindly follow and our clergy who refuse to tell us what these holidays are really about. And these holidays, man, they got so much wickedness, witchcraft, sacrificing, and spiritual warfare wrapped up into this. And they got us empowering it, worshiping and bowing to their gods, giving them strength to lord over us. Let's get Leviticus 26:1. Man, we'll be wrapped up, so wrapped up into these things. I mean, you know, look at the sorcery. Every TV show, ching, 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 snow falling around, everybody, you know, they just get you into this whole thing. All your favorite stuff, you know, all the Temptations, everybody, your favorite artist definitely got a Christmas song. It's a spell. The TV, the television, oh, jolly, jolly, got the hat hanging over with the thing, everybody bouncing and happy, yeah, yeah, yeah. When it really straight up death going on, man. They covering up straight death and evil and sin. Like it's straight war, sorcery.
Christmas spirit, the holiday spirit.
Check the statistics, like it's facts going on. Everything that has to do with mayhem, muck, gore, death, sin is at an all-time high right now. Facts. Research. Right. Got people breaking themselves, sale prices, spending all their money, robbing each other. It's going off. While they got Jingle Bells and Rudolph and all the classic movies playing to make you feel good. Let's get some hot cocoa. Oh, yeah. Soon as it dropped, then everybody come out of it and wake up after New Year's and be like, oh, my goodness, what did I just do? I'm going to be in debt all the way up to next Christmas.
Do it all over.
And I'm going to do it again. For the kids. Man. People is all messed up. People is all depressed. Hey, you know what the saving glory is? That remote control. Let me get home and turn something on and I'm going to remove myself from reality. What's the TV special? Oh, they got all my favorite, the Christmas special. They singing and everybody. So why? Why are we still there? We know better. Half the people that's still caught up in that don't even know what to relate Christmas to no more. They don't even go to church. We just, hey, it's Christmas. Look, Gary, hey. You know, Luther Vandross love Christmas. Why not me? Like, hey, we all in this. This is great. You put all the stars on it, you know? So, of course, oh, yeah, this is what to do. They don't know these dudes, what all they involved in. These people on this screen. Let's read it. Chapter 26, Leviticus 26:1.
Ye shall make you no idols nor graven image, neither rear ye up a standing image.
Listen to that. Powerful. That's the law. Obedience, right? Talking about those weapons. Ye shall make no idols or graven images, carving up something and setting it up and looking at it some kind of way. Or standing up an image. What you doing? That's nonsense. I explain that stuff to my daughter, you know, and they have a fresh mind. And she's like, yeah, like, why would somebody do that? Like, that's just crazy. You know, we walk in the building, I'm explaining, like, you know, they worship that. And she's like, you know, but we've been trained. Like, this is what it's like, yeah, we got images here, we got this. People doing everything, circling it, putting it in it, you know, that's their protection and they walk around with. This is they, you know, that's foolishness. I'm like, baby, don't you know that a man made that with his hands and then worshipped it? He made it. It can't, he's like, yeah, it can't do nothing. I'm like, I know, right? Crazy. Make no idol nor graven image. Go ahead.
Neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up an image of stone in your land, to bow down unto. For I am the Most High your power.
Let's go right to Jeremiah, chapter 10. Jeremiah 10:1. They got, you know, we worshiping idols that was made on an assembly line. They shuffling them out 1,000 a minute. Let me go buy me one and sit on my mantle and worship it and pray to it. Hey, it's a spirit. They imparting these things into this stuff. It ain't just a business. It's warfare.
Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith the Most High.
They don't point that out, do they? You see who he's speaking to, the house of Israel. As many Bibles as is open and across however many churches, how often do they want to recognize? They won't go to this scripture at all. But when it is read, you know, they somehow just go ahead and say it don't matter. It ain't, let's just replace Israel with everybody. He talking to a people. We have a job. Let's stand on this law. Go ahead.
Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen.
You see that? You see a separation? What is heathen? It's talking to those, that means any nation outside of you. That means everybody else. What happened to we all the same? Not if you read this book. It's a difference. And it's not to create, I'm not trying to throw it out there to boast or to deal with division or to have a problem with others. It's for us to understand and recognize who we are and our responsibility to it. He's saying, this is what I'm telling you to do. We're supposed to be an example. To actually be able to help the heathen or the other nations or the Gentiles. It's not for us to take for our own and run and keep just for us and, you know, wait and hope that someone else is not okay. That's not the spirit. Okay? So I don't want to confuse it. But we got to know and understand, like, there is a plight against somebody for a reason. We are somebody that comes with something to be in that. It's a reason that's hid. That has to be pointed out too, because that causes people to stumble as well. We do deal in this love, in the ultimate love of Christ. All right, go ahead.
Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Mm-hmm. For the customs of the people are vain.
They're vain. It's like, it's saying what they doing don't mean nothing. And the most that it can mean is this self-gratification. for no other purpose. It's vain. Go ahead.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the works of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
You see what he's talking about? We know what this is. This is the Christmas tree for those who don't know. Their work, their customs, their traditions, their routines, and these things that they do are for naught. For one cutteth a tree out of a forest, that worketh of the hands of the workmen with an axe.
Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold.
You see? Go ahead.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
You see this? We're taking a tree out of the forest and decorating it and fastening it, standing it up so it don't move. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
So if you weren't sure or didn't know, that should make it clear. We're talking about these same customs of this time of year, of Christmas and the Christmas tree. Because see, we don't even take the time to stop and think and say, what am I doing? Why am I dyeing eggs? Why are we hiding them? Like, why we got Easter bunny dolls? If this is supposed to be about Christ. Why am I cutting down a tree and bringing it in my house? Whose idea was this? Let's just do it. Hey, man, don't you see the TV special? It's fun. It's great. What am I doing? It didn't just come from nowhere. This didn't just start trending out of nothing. This stuff is attached. Spiritual. It's spiritual. That's why it's made a point and discussed directly and specifically in the Bible and said, don't do it. Go ahead.
Verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not.
You done stood this thing up. This inanimate object that can't do nothing. It can't speak. Go ahead.
They must needs be born, because they cannot go.
They must needs be plucked. That's talking about you had to pick it up to bring it in your house, because it can't move. It can't speak. It couldn't move itself. You got it and brought it here. Go ahead.
They must be born because they cannot go.
Mm-hmm.
Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good.
It can't do nothing. It's like, don't be afraid. You worshiping this thing that you had to go get, bring it in your house. It can't speak. It can't do anything. It can't do bad to you. It can't do good to you.
It dies.
And it's going to die. Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 6. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
Right. So, there's no comparison. The Most High is great. This is the same God who brought salvation out of Egypt. So forth, so on. Splitting the Red Sea. Go ahead.
For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee.
Mm-hmm.
But they are altogether brutish and foolish.
Brutish and foolish.
The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
The stock is a doctrine of vanities. The stock is the tree. It's talking about the Christmas tree. That's what is this. This whole thing is a doctrine of vanities. Go ahead.
Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workman and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men.
Mm-hmm.
But the Most High is the true power.
Right.
He is the living power.
Right.
And an everlasting king. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
The Father went out his way to condemn these vain holidays that we continue to involve ourselves in. We put our spiritual power towards the gods who hate us and hope for our fall. Because of this rebellion, the gods are arising to be our judges until death instead of us judging them. So like I said, we're empowering our oppressors, our oppression, and the gods that they serve. Here, I've got a link here. You know, like we're speaking of things progressing in this day and time. It being spiritual warfare versus how whatever we may see in the physical. It's businessinsider.com. You know what? And it's going to be, I'll try to say it here. /Sophia-Robot-in-Saudi-Arabia. That should get you there. There's more to that link, right? But we're talking, there's a robot. Matter of fact, just search Sophia the robot, citizen in Saudi Arabia. So, a robot, you want to read that?
Yeah. A robot that once said it would destroy humans just became the first robot citizen.
Been given citizenship, a robot.
And
you think that's the end all be all of that situation? They just don't kind of pause and stop there. Okay, that was cool. What's next? Let's move. This is going somewhere, just like everything. Robots with citizenship. This robot appears as a person, talks, moves, and makes facial expressions, eyes, smile, anger, emotions. Just like we were talking about how these things are, we're not able to see truth, and the movies and distractions, and they'll use these things to prepare to introduce us into the next phase, just like AI. Yeah, that's the name of that movie. Will Smith's movie, wasn't it called AI? Artificial Intelligence? iRobot. That's what this girl looked like, this robot. Looked just like she came right out of the movie. Well, similar. The face part, and then they got her head in the back, just like how them things look. Or, RoboCop, Terminator, Blade Runner, all these movies where they showing these robots over the people and overrunning them. So let's read this, though. Go ahead.
An empty-eyed humanoid named Sophia has become the first robot to be granted citizenship in the world. Saudi Arabia bestowed citizenship upon Sophia ahead of the Future Investment Initiative, held in the kingdom's capital city of Riyadh on Wednesday. I'm very honored and proud of this unique distinction, so Sophia told the audience, speaking on a panel. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
She's standing before this huge audience and this full of dignitaries speaking and being interviewed, and they sitting here in amazement recording her. I mean, the rich of the world, like, yeah, look, we making progress. Go ahead.
Sorkin told Sophia that we all want to prevent a bad future, prompting Sophia to rib Sorkin for his fatalism.
Yeah, so Sorkin is the guy who's interviewing her, asking questions. And I'm looking at this, and as he's asking about preventing a bad future, asking her basically like, so what about those of us humans who feel concerned about creating these robots and this artificial intelligence that someday they'll overtake us or do wrong? He's asking her directly in front of everybody. Go ahead and read it.
You've been reading too much.
This is her response.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies, Sophia told Sorkin. Don't worry. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Treat me as a smart input-output system.
She said, you've been reading too many books and watching too many movies, and you're too much involved in Hollywood. She kept deferring He asked her like 4 times, and he was like, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. And she was like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, you've been watching too many movies. She didn't answer him. He's like, what about people that's worried y'all gonna take over? She never answered. Speaking of the movies and the delusions and illusions, she's like, yeah, you saw me already, haven't you? You know what we're doing. You've been seeing the movies. Go ahead. And then again, like he read the title, she's already said a robot that once said it would destroy humans. There's video of her saying that. He asked her, like, will you destroy humans? Please say no. He's like, yeah, I'll destroy humans. Go ahead.
In March of 2016, Sophia's creator, David Hansen,
here it is,
of Hansen Robotics, asked Sophia during a live demonstration at the South by Southwest Festival, do you want to destroy humans? Please say no. With a blank expression, Sophia responded, okay, I will destroy humans. Sophia could soon have company from other robotic manufacturers, namely SoftBank, whose Pepper robot was released as a prototype in 2014 as a consumer model a year later. The company sold out of its supply of 1,000 robots in less than a minute.
It is almost impossible to get citizenship in Arabia for a man, yet a robot gets it with no problem. While we are concerned about our sinful pursuits, things like this make the headlines and we don't even care or understand its significance. Let's look at a small piece of the puzzle for a second to understand the choice of calling this demon/robot Sophia. So we're going to go to Wikipedia, right, and read from there concerning Sophia, this name Sophia. You'll see it's attached directly to the spirit.
Sophia is a goddess of wisdom by Gnostics.
It's one of their gods that they worship, that they named this robot after. Sophia is a god or goddess of intelligence or wisdom, right? Go ahead.
As well as by some
artificial intelligence, right? And here's they naming it after their god, directly related to wisdom or intelligence. Go ahead.
As well as by some neo-pagan, New Age, and goddess spirituality groups. In Orthodox and Roman Catholic Christianity, Sophia, or rather Hagia Sophia, Holy Spirit or Holy Wisdom, is an expression of understanding for the second person of the Holy Trinity, as in the dedication of the Church of Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, as well as in the Old Testament, as seen in the book of Proverbs 9:1, but not an angel or goddess.
All right. We're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that because there's more I want to jump right to it now, but we're going to come right back to, because so when we speak of the spirit and them dealing with spirits, whether it be concerning music, television, prescriptions, drugs, everything we deal with, they're conjuring up and employing and entering spirits into these things. We're going to get to that. Let's get Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 7. They have now out there already putting these things to work. RoboCop, for example, they have robot police already out there policing the people. Out in Dubai. They have robot priest. Robot priest. Where you can go and give your confessions and deal with these priests.
You know they use her like a murder, proof of murder in court.
Oh.
Because she listens.
Yeah.
So you have her in your house, she listens to everything that goes on in your house, and they use her in court to prove a murder.
You see how they linking all that up? We getting so familiar with robots in our house already. I mean, man, and you see this stuff is gradual. Can you imagine stepping out of this today and just dropping back just 20 years? And or somebody from 20 years, like, just dropping into this? And they'll be like, whoa, what are y'all doing? Y'all done let them do this? Y'all TVs is watching y'all? You got robots in your house and like everything is monitored. You got all your information just available on the computer. Like, I'm trying to just tap in. I mean, slowly. So it's that, you know, that's why I always want to try to make it plain so we can take the covers off our eyes and see, like, this ain't far-fetched. Realize what's happening. We in it. It ain't like, oh man, you know, maybe that really could. No, we involved. Like, this stuff is happening. Where we at? Ezekiel 20, verse 7, right?
Mm-hmm. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I am the Lord your power. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me.
Mm.
They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes.
Like now, how many Christmas, they still selling out of Christmas trees. Go ahead.
Neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt.
So he made himself known by bringing the same way he told Moses, like, I'm the witness of me being with you is what I'm about to do. He said, I've made myself known by bringing them out. Go ahead.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes.
See that? Followed up by I brought them out and I gave them what to do. I gave them my law. Go ahead.
And showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths, to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
We constantly rebel against the Father. And just like before, he is asking us to put away the false gods and their belief systems before it is too late. Fury will be poured out on those who rebel, and there will be no mercy from the Father when Satan is allowed to release all the angels of punishment on the people. Revelations 9:1. We're going to read of some of that. These things are coming. We don't wait until the last minute and look to seek to, you know, speed date with the Most High and get to know him overnight. Get to know him now. Build that relationship. Strengthen up your spirit. But these are the times that are at hand. Revelations 9:1.
And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from the heaven unto earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
So this is a fallen angel, right? Satan and his cohorts. Go ahead.
And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. And unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them.
Right. So you see, but only those men which not to harm, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High were they going to harm, right? Go ahead.
And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had their hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle.
Man, sound terrifying.
And they had tails like unto serpents, and there were stings in their tails. And their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongues is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
Satan and his minions will do battle against the inhabitants of the earth. And the only chance you have for survival is to serve the Most High and keep his commandments under Shia. Let's get the book of First Maccabees. All these things, even how they want to keep showing all the movies of the end time, desolate lands and running for your life, and it's scarce food and water, and the big evil group or whatever is robots or animals or whatever coming after people. You see how like every other movie is about that, like all the time, just preparing people to where they're not shocked with the way that they presently live, because they constantly sit back in enjoyment, popping popcorn, watching just, desolation and destruction. Just pure entertainment. Oh, I see that every day. It's just on the TV. You're just watching explosions and deaths and guns and, crazy animals jumping out of a creek somewhere and grabbing up people and disappearing back in the dark. And, so we just accustomed and okay. Just like that Sophia, this robot said, you watching too many movies. That ain't never gonna happen. Y'all just need to make some more of me. We'll be all right. First Maccabees 1:38.
Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So we see we're setting the stage of what's taking place at this time, right? The sanctuary laid waste, the feast turned into mourning. We're seeing all this evil being taken place. And then the king says, and everyone should leave his laws. Don't follow the laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. That sentence could be written for us right now, not later. We can talk about it more extreme for later, but this is what's happening right now. The law is done away with. All the guys who fill the stadiums are telling you, don't worry about the law. This is coming from the kings. Go ahead.
Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
So many of us just fell right in line and did that. Go ahead.
Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. and forbid burnt offerings, and sacrifice, and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
I say they could be written about today, but more so, these things will come to where it's going to be this heavy. Go ahead.
Verse 47, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
You can't tell me of a church, for the most part, that ain't sacrificing and dealing with pig every time they sit down and eat. Let alone in our homes and everywhere else. Go ahead. You're not going to have the breakfast social without sausage and bacon and ham for the, they slicing up honey hams right now in the churches for Christmas. And you see how it ain't light. It's like, I want swine sacrificed and up in there everywhere. Let's bust that wide open. Go ahead.
Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
Yeah, to forget the law and change the ordinances. De-armed. Go ahead.
Verse 50, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
Why is this so important to him that he want to kill people if they don't put the law down? Go ahead.
Verse 51, in the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom.
We're talking about a law that's saying don't kill, don't hurt, love your brother. I'm going to kill you if you don't stop that. Go ahead.
In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Verse 52, then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
So people had to, hide, not to be, in order to keep the law. That's coming. Are you prepared for this time? The government made laws where if you did not worship their gods and way of living, you would be killed. Is it really so hard to accept this happening today? Is that such a far-fetched idea? In Canada right now, you can straight up go to jail for not calling a person after the gender they prefer to be called. Go to jail, be in prison. If somebody decides that they are of a certain sex and you won't recognize it or call them by it, imprisonment. All right, we got another link here from Newsweek.com. You want to read that? You got it ready?
Mm-hmm.
And we just got a little bit more after this.
Artificial intelligence and the robot apocalypse. Why we need new rules to keep humans safe.
This is Newsweek. This isn't some foreign source talking about the rules that they're going to put in place over the new and the upcoming robots.
Instead of laws to restrict robot behavior, I think robots should be empowered to maximize the possible ways they can act so they can pick the best solution for any given scenario. As we describe in a new paper in Frontiers,
picking the solution to deal with situations. Go ahead.
This principle could form the basis of a new set of universal guidelines for robots to keep humans as safe as possible.
Yeah. Giving them free will and reign and putting them to protect us. This is like high tech. I don't know what y'all laughing at. This is big time, smart people stuff going on, Man, ain't this crazy? Crazy. And they putting this out here like it's like they bragging and up on some information like we need to give them rain to figure out. At least that's how they posing it to the people. They know what they preparing these things for. Being that the Satanists are the ones programming the guidelines for the robots, how confident should we be in our safety? They programming them. Just like before in our history, there will be laws for the people which show their allegiance to the beast system, and those who will not comply will have to deal with whatever guidelines are set by these demonically empowered machines. Yes, there are demons which inhabit these new AI machines.
Yes.
They are. Yeah. So here's another link. This is from the Washington Post. Go ahead and read that.
Elon Musk, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
So check this out real quick. This is from Elon Musk. For those who don't know, he is a super duper wealthy inventor. He has a lot to do with Tesla, cars, advancing space travel. Like he's up there like that. By the way, before he reads this, this is also who that Sophia robot mentioned when he kept asking her. He's like, you've read too many Elon Musk books. Yeah, check it out. You'll see it. She say it right from her mouth, and you're watching too much Hollywood, and then she referenced this guy.
I had something about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He just sent a spaceship into space. Elon Musk, like this week in California, and everybody nobody knew what it was, and they're looking in the sky like, man, what is that? An alien? Is that a? It was
That was him.
He has the technology under his own umbrella to travel into space, and his goal is to go to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to escape the wrath of God.
They trying to prepare to fight the Most High. That's what they doing. This is 2014. 10/24/2014. Washington Post. Elon Musk.
I'll read the title again.
Here's the title.
Elon Musk, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
This is what he said. You can find, I watched it, him speaking on it and talking about dealing with this technology and artificial intelligence. It's something to really not tread on lightly. We are summoning the demon.
That other dude said it. You know that old crippled dude in the wheelchair?
The one who don't speak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said the same thing.
Mm.
He's supposed to be, he's highly intelligent too.
Right. Go ahead and read that.
Tesla chief executive Elon Musk was warned about artificial intelligence before, tweeting that it could be more dangerous than nuclear weapons. Speaking Friday at the MIT Aeronautics and Astronautics Department Centennial Symposium, Musk called it our biggest essential threat. I think we should be very careful about artificial intelligence.
This is the same thing that they roll and write out.
If I were to guess like what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that. So we need to be very careful with the artificial intelligence. Increasingly, scientists think there should be some regulatory oversight, maybe at the national or international level, just to make sure that we don't do something very foolish. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. And all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, it's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
Yeah, so this is a quote from him. He's like, yeah, we think we about to create this and control this demon. He's like, but the movie never works out that way. So as you can see, the chief executive of the Tesla company, a company known for making highly technological advanced things, admits they will be summoning demons, but the people think he's just using colorful expressions. He has also suggested He was serious when you see him speak. He wasn't joking. He has also suggested in other interviews that we should enhance ourselves with our own internal microchips to be able to keep up with the artificial intelligence. So he's suggesting that for us to keep up with them and introducing them, we can link in to the beast, by the way, with this chip. Does all of this start seeming like more of a reality when you read Revelations and be partaking with the beast, and the beast being this system of electronics and computers, robots now, and us linking in and chipping ourselves? It sounds like a science fiction movie. Man, we live in this stuff. Tesla himself was a Satanist, as exposed upon his death, and those running the company share his same views on what should be done for those who will refuse the advancements suggested. Revelations 13. Just a couple more scriptures here. No, this lesson was a bit extended, but relevant and important. Revelations 13 and 14.
Revelations chapter 13, verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Deceiving them with the miracles and the power they have to do in the sight of the beast. That's what we speaking of, where they got something up there electronically acting like a human, like a miracle in sight of the beast, which is that whole encompassing of the technology and the networks throughout. This is scripture we read, just blatantly just speaking directly to our current state. Go ahead.
Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
And did live. Go ahead.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
You see this? How this is all intertwining and just coming right to reality right before us. We seeing it unfold. Cause the image to speak. Cause the rich, poor, and whoever don't follow it or don't take an etching or the mark in their head or hand. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Not only are our sins before us, but they have allowed us to get to the point where our idols are being brought to life. And we will, if we are in the bonds of sin, take this chip in its many different variations when the time comes to be a part of this wicked system in fear of rejection. Just like we read, they're giving life to the beast and causing it to speak. Like we're reading this in Revelations. We will also do it in fear of not being able to partake in our own lust that the system provides. One last scripture here. Let's get Revelations 20 and wrap things up. Revelations chapter 20, verse 1.
Revelations 20 and 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up.
That's ultimately what will be taking place. He'll be going into that bottomless pit. This isn't forever. They do not win. They do not win, right? So we see these things, but there is a power above and beyond them. The same power that allows them to move. Like we read in Revelations earlier in chapter 13, the key to the bottomless pit was given to them, not taken or no. The Most High is letting them move. Look who's now in due time, on the Most High's time, they're now being tossed into this pit. They don't have dominion over anything. This earth, you, the pit, hell, the kingdom, none of that. This is for a short time. That's what we're reading here. Go ahead.
And shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
No more. You're done. That's enough. Go ahead.
Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season.
For a little season. But he'll be bound again. Go ahead.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them.
Thrones, judgment. Go ahead.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Shia.
Those who were put to death were sitting on thrones and living eternal for a kingdom. That isn't the end. The judgment that just comes on this earth, and the persecution for not accepting the chip. As much as they want us to believe that this is all fleshly, and once this flesh is dealt with, that's it. We read, this ain't a battle of flesh. We need to be concerned of him that has power and rule over the flesh and the spirit. He said, and I saw thrones, and they sat up on them, and judgment was given unto them, sitting up judging now. Like, okay, you remember all this madness you succumbed to, what you were doing unrighteous. Guess who you got to come back and answer to? The same ones you was persecuting and mistreating for trying to do right. We here. Check out my crown. Like it's on. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Christ. Go ahead.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Shia, and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast,
endured,
neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
They lived and they reigned with Christ. Satan will be bound, and all his minions, buddies, partners, and everything that followed and worshipped him, and eventually utterly destroyed. But where will you be? Set your soul on the Father's will, and endure temptation, and seek the things which are truly eternal. Don't get caught up in the Christmas special, the pressures of what everybody say. For that matter, the mark of the beast, trying to fulfill your lustly desires. And if I don't take this, they're not going to let me be in the cool group. If I don't take the mark, I ain't going to be able to eat, whatever it is. They're going to persecute me. They're going to hurt me. They might kill me. Understand, it's not flesh, it's spirit. You will live again. That's when life, actually the true life, really begins. Speaking of that flesh versus spirit. They'll have us so wrapped up into these things. And this body, it's scarred all up. It get ashy. It break down. Shoulders start hurting. It's dying already. You gonna give up everything, the eternal, to try to hold on to this little miserable thing that we do, little bit we have now? Don't get caught up in that. Deal with and focus on the everlasting, the eternal, the spirit. See what he saw? I saw thrones. I saw guys sitting up on them, the same ones that they killed. They sitting up here judging. This ain't it. Reject the mark and be sealed with the Holy Spirit, which is through grace freely given to those who believe. You think it's happenstance that we read in this same book of Revelations that's been around for hundreds, thousands of years, and now it's the Most High is opening it up to us and revealing these mysteries, and we reading exactly what's happening today? You don't think it's no facts or truth to this Bible? You can't disprove nothing in it. So don't try to tell me that the Most High, Christ, our Savior, and the kingdom isn't real. All right? So with that, we're going to say shalom, and I hope that the lesson was a blessing and brought some understanding.